close to the camera.
He's
look, he's 5 pounds right now.
We're here at the media day for the 2021 Bassmaster Classic on Ray Roberts.
This is a tank. Look at the size of this thing.
Progress we've made so far on our Hobie PA14.
Got it wired up for 12 volt right now.
We got the P127.
That money!
That's a monster!
Got one. Took him long enough, didn't it? He knows.
You know that's your outro.
I know, but I mean, like, I was waiting on you because, like, you just kind of put me on the spot and it's like it didn't flow. Right?
Whatever. All right, guys. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to One Objective tonight. Guys, we hopefully have a good show lined up for you guys tonight. I think it'll be good either way. But just trying to get a couple of kinks worked out, man. I mean, we ain't done this in a while. We go in there and all of a sudden realize that our software has a note saying that they're not linking to Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
So anyways, we can get that one going. So we're here live on YouTube right now. Our plan is to have Alex. That's what the whole post was about. We were having some conversations. I don't know if something's going on right now or what, but I've messaged on Facebook and then text messaged him as well. Haven't heard nothing yet. So anyways, just waiting for that to go through. If he doesn't come on, we will arrange it to be our next show. Maybe it just have to be a through the week interview or something, you know. But we ain't been on in a while, and we want to get on here and talk with you guys and kind of go over Hartwell. Want to talk about that and how that went down. I mean, if you look at the results, you can see exactly how that went down. But I want to kind of tell my side of the story, you know, on it ain't nothing crazy, but I'm just talking about how my fishing day went. Actually, the video is going to be coming out this week on Hartwell. We've been behind on our tournament videos, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and why, and you know, some changes that we're going to be going through tonight. That we're going to be going through this year with One Objective, and you know, just what's going to be going on with One Objective. But we really wanted to kick this show off with Alex Watts because, for one, he's the one that takes care of all of our team stuff with Missile Baits and one of our sponsors, and him to go in and do it as a co-angler, winning as a co-angler on a very stingy Bugs Island for the Bassmaster Opens. Yes, I said Bugs Island. Some people call it Kerr. Some people call it Bugs. If you're from Virginia, I think it's Bugs Island.
Yeah.
And if you're from North Carolina, they call it Kerr. So that's where we're at. I like to say, I'm still waiting to hear from Alex. Hopefully this works out. If not, then it's just yours truly tonight. So, but anyways, I want to thank Brittany. Brittany's coming in. Hey, Kara, what you doing? Got her. So got Mark Edwards coming in. Yep. Congratulations to Alex. Hey, man, get on there and message with people on Facebook. Hey, man, you're supposed to be on a show. You're supposed to be on a show. No, I don't know. Something could have came up, but yeah. So anyways, I want to thank Missile Baits for all they've done for our show. They have been amazing. They're a great sponsor of ours. Have done a lot with giveaways for us. They have helped us out with baits for videos. And also just supplied us baits for our tournaments and all that. They got some really great stuff. And a lot of you guys know that me and James both are big fans of the Baby Destroyer. That's one of our big go-to baits when we're Carolina rigging, when we're Texas rigging. It's just a great creature bait, you know. So make sure you go check them out. We got all that on oneobjectivebf.com as well. You can go in there and check that stuff out. Also, I want to thank Amped Outdoors. Huge supporter of ours. They have helped us out with so much this year with rigging jobs. They have helped us out so much with just some rigging our Rangers. I mean, we switched our trolling motors over to lithiums. We went with the 36 volt setup. So we got a video that's going to be coming on that, how we did all that. We just got a lot. We got a lot going on, and very excited about, you know, working our relationship with Amped Outdoors, and we have sold a lot for them. So if you're interested in those, you can check them out at ampedoutdoors.com, or you can go to oneobjectivebf.com. We're also a dealer for them. And then also Waterland sunglasses. I have really loved these sunglasses. And the bed fishers, I just love those. I mean, you know, when they came out, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of like big big sunglasses. Just picture wise, I'm like, man, these things are big. I don't know if I want to wear these or not. And I seen the pictures of them, and they sent us some, and I was like, man, I'll try them. I'm liking them, but I don't know how they go look on my head. I got a big head. I got a big little pumpkin. And man, when he sent them things, I tried them on and just went out there. I mean, even if you like say they call bed fishers, they're great for when you're fishing beds, but they're great all around sunglasses. Like they're comfortable. They don't fog up on you, they're super, super phenomenal. Make sure you go check them out at waterlandco.com. Also save yourself 15%. If you want, I can put a link in the description at the end of this video. We'll have it down in the description. A link you can click that you can go over to as well, but use One Objective at checkout for 15% off. So save yourself a little bit of money there. They got the what they call those plastic lenses, but I call it plastic, but it's a certain name they call for it. And then they also have the glass as well. So they're costing.
Not Lexan, is it?
Nah, I can't remember what you call it. They call it Pro. I don't know what you call
Just took a guess at it.
Yeah, man, I'm a redneck. I don't say redneck. I'm a country boy. Me saying big words like that's really hard for me. I can't do it. So, but make sure you go check them out, waterlandco.com. Check out all the glasses they have for all kinds of conditions. So, but anyways, let's kind of dig into this show. When Alex starts to come on, or if he comes on, we'll start leading into his conversation. But I kind of want to talk about Hartwell. So Hartwell was a fun event. If you look at the score tracker for us, my first day, yes, it was so tight, man. Everything was tight. I think I had a 12-inch fish, or no, it was a 15. What was it? It was a 14-inch fish. I think I had on there. I needed to get rid of. Okay, 1 inch. I was looking at this. 1 inch would have bumped me up 20, 25 spots. That's how tight it was. The only tournament that I have fished that was this tight was when we went to Winnipesaukee. And I was 50th on day one. And I was like 3 inches out from the lead. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. 4 inches, something like, I can't remember what it was. Or maybe it was from the money. That's what it was. I think it was from top 10. It's 3 or 4 inches from top 10. Man, it was so tough. And like those spots, like that's what I was trying to get on, was the spots, because those fish were longer, like, I mean, not unless you catch like a 21 or 22 inch fish, but if you can find the average size spots where you're getting out there at 17, 18, 19 inches long, man, they were everywhere. I mean, the first day, like, we pulled out there on a point, and me and Andy Middleton was sitting on the exact same point. We were talking, going, he started slowing down, I started slowing down, and I was like, oh boy, I was out a little deeper, because that's actually where I was dragging the Carolina rig. I was catching some on the Carolina rig, dragging. And he goes, are you fishing this point? And I was like, yeah, are you? He's like, yeah. He goes, are you fishing out deeper? I said, yeah. He goes, well, I'm going to step here shallow and fish. And I'm like, okay, that'll work. I like Andy. I think he's a great guy. And the way we handled that was like professional as all, like he was great to work with, because he could have, it could have went south quick. You know what I mean? I've seen it from other anglers, not me in general, but started making my cast. The fish that I found deeper, I just didn't see them on live scope. I was making cast. He makes 2 or 3 casts and he catches a 20-incher up there on the bank, and we're looking down the bank, and dude, they're blowing up everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Throwing flukes. I'm throwing top waters. Man, I cannot seem to get it going. Everything that I had through practice, which I was catching them on a Nico rig. I was catching them on basically a Bass Pro Shops swim bait. Just like it looks like a Kitech, like I can't remember what you call it. It looks like Kitech. Throwing a bigger one on jig heads, and the fish I wasn't catching many, man, but I was catching quality. It was 17+ inch fish. Couldn't get it going. I'm fishing, anywhere between 10 to 15 foot of water. And you would pull up and you'd see about 5 or 6 of them out there, and you cast, and someone will follow, not touch it. Just couldn't. During practice, I couldn't do no wrong. And I wouldn't even burn my spots up. Like, I catch one here. And then I moved to the bank and started looking for bedding fish because they were up there, but everything was so skittish, man. Like, it was everything he flipped at would just take off from the beds, just like that, you know. And I'm like, well, maybe by the time this tournament starts, because it was getting warmer and warmer and warmer. We didn't have a lot of bad weather. I was like, maybe these dudes will get locked on. Tournament time come around, like I was saying, me and Andy was sitting on that spot, and it wasn't happening. And so I was like, well, I'm going back in here where these fish that are on beds, and I'm going to see if I can get something going. And go back there, dude. I pulled in and power poled down, and there was 3 beds, one to my right, one in front of me, and one to the left. I caught the one in front of me. Actually, I didn't even know the one to the right was even there yet. I caught the one in front of me, caught that fish, put it back. I look, there was another fish swimming. I flip over to that one where he kept getting kind of antsy, so I was giving a break, and I turned around and just looked, and I was like, holy crap, there's another one right there. So I flipped over that, caught that one, and then I flipped over to the other one and caught that one. And I caught 3 fish within 25 minutes, 30 minutes. And then I was like, heck, this works. Went on out. I caught another one off a swim bait on a point. I caught that one was 18 some inches long, 18 3/4 I caught spot. And I moved in the back and I found another one on bed. Caught that one. And then I found another one on bed that cold out a fish for me. I can't remember where I was sitting at on day one, like 40th something, maybe. And I mean, it was tight. I think I was like, oh man, I don't know, like 4 inches, 5 inches or so from the money. So go in the next day, I caught 3 more fish, and that was it for the rest of the day. I could not get it going at all. I had 4 on a top water that came off.
Oh,
They were schooling up, man. I was taking a Czar spook over there, and they were just crushing it. You have them on for a little bit, gone. I was just like, man, it was tough. It was a grind. And I mean, I like grinder tournaments, but I could not. And come find out from what it sounds like, what people were doing was drop shotting and Nico rigging spots out there in deeper water, you know, on some guys were fishing shallow and bed fishing and the same kind of stuff, but could not. 2 more fish would have possibly, not saying it would have, but just looking at it, the way the weights were, I think 2 more fish would have put me really, really close to the money. I don't think it would put me in. It just depends on what size they were, you know? So, but 2 12-inch fish would have went a long ways. And I just could not get it going, man. It was a struggle. So let me check real quick. Make sure Alex doesn't seem to have anything from him. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if he forgot. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I'm going to give him heck. I can tell you that right now. I'm going to give him up the road tonight. But anyway, so that's how Hartwell went. Man, we had a great time. Room with Bob Barisky, Jason Hensley, Craig Brashear, and it was me and James. We had a house right on the lake. Beautiful house. I had a lot of fun rooming with them guys, and it always is fun when you go with, you know, can room with several guys and split the cost and just shoot the bull and you know, kind of bounce ideas off one another, you know what I mean, and kind of see what they're doing and how they're doing it. And I think, you know, that's one of the biggest things that, you know, some people, you know, don't want that interaction. And I'm gonna be quite honest with you, me and James went into it last year and we really didn't room with nobody, you know, at the beginning. We did okay, but you know, when you get in some of these tournaments where you're kind of struggling and you get in a room with some of these people that, you know, I'm not going to say the guys that we feel like we've roomed with the last 2 times, I could trust them, but, I was like, but you know, you get some guys, you're like, you don't know, you know what I mean? They're just like, you want to split a room and we'll do it. So you don't know if the information they're giving you is leading you astray or not, you know what I mean? But you know, the guys for the last 2 times that we have roomed with, those people with Craig and all of them, man, it was a blast. We had a good time. Everybody learned a little bit of something. We all had lots of laughs, and that's what it's about. It's going out and having a good time. And you got to take it serious, but it's also, you got to really, really, truly enjoy it. And we did. I really, truly enjoyed it. So some big changes coming for us. I don't know if we've talked about it in the last show. It's been so long. big changes coming for us. So me and James have decided to step back from kayak tournament fishing. Basically, we're going to still fish, and we're going to still do some one-on-ones, and we're going to, do a lot of YouTube content. That's what we're trying to concentrate on. We want to get back to what got us here. You know what I mean? What got us going, our business-wise, with YouTube and our podcast. And the problem we were running into, and I give it to these guys that travel and do this stuff all the time, because it can suck the life out of you real quick. If you're not careful with it. And if you got a family, it's really tough, man, because you got so many things that you're trying to balance. When you got kids in sports, when you got kids in, just all kinds of activity, kids in general, or, you got anniversaries you're missing, or you got birthdays, or you got friends events, like buddies that needs help or something like that. You're always gone. You can't do nothing for nobody. And it's kind of a grind when it gets like that, and you get kind of in a dark place. And then when you're already struggling with the season, like me and James, we've just been in kind of like a slump right now with fishing. I don't know what it is. Like, I'll have some more scenarios here in a minute, but like, we've just been in a slump. It's just been a grind nonstop every time we've been out, and we can't. Poor James. I mean, you look at Hartwell. He's not going to have much content in this next video coming up. Got David Williams in here. What's going on, David? Hey, better late than never, man. But James, he struggled at Hartwell. We both struggled at Chickamauga. And then where did we go for that? Gunnersville. We both struggled. So it's just like, man, what the heck is going on here? We catch fish, but it's not. I mean, even the fish that we're catching is not. You catch a 116, that ain't doing nothing for you. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get limits. And the thing is, you got to get limits of good ones, limits of 17, 18, 19, 20s, to really make a move in this series. These people that you're fishing against in these things are good. And I mean, it's tough. It's really tough to compete against them. And I like that, you know what I mean? Because that's what pushes you as an angler. When you're competing against tough people, you grow with it, and you start making changes. I know, like, stuff that me and James was doing, and how I look back how we fished and how we fish now, how we covered water and how we cover water now, how we practice to how we practice now. When you travel and you do that stuff, you pick up these things, and you just start trying to figure out how to do things faster, more efficiently, and all that. So, and all that comes with time on the water. I mean, that's what we talk about. It's the biggest key of every show that we do when it comes down to is time on the water. So that's the biggest thing. But so we're gonna step back. We're gonna be doing some local stuff. Me and Chris are gonna fish a few night events. My son, he wants to fish a few night events. My daughter wants to fish a few night events. So I'm gonna be doing some night tournaments locally. And then we might throw a BFL in here and there that we might fish. And then I think next year we might actually fish a full BFL series, whether it's Piedmont or Shenandoah, or maybe we're going to go outside our comfort window and just go and fish something all North Carolina, South Carolina series, and fish something like that. Because the cool thing about the BFLs, man, it's a one-day event. It's Saturday. You can go practice a week ahead of time if you want to. You know what I mean? You can do that with the kayak stuff, but it's so far away. Like, everywhere we go for us, I think Chickamauga was the closest one for us. You know what I mean? South Carolina wasn't too bad, actually. Hartwell, I think that was like 7 hours, something like that trip. So that wasn't too bad. But everything else, man, it's just a long ways. And you better get your practice in. You got to at least get 2 to 3 days. And the problem is, too, one, objective's growing a lot. We've had a lot of success. And I really want to thank everybody that has supported our business 100%, because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be where we're at right now. It just took off, and super, super blessed to be where we're at right now. Hopefully, I'm hoping here in the near future, way things are growing, I'm not going to say it's going to be this year, but it's looking like possibly by next year, we might be able to hire somebody finally. It's just been me and James, and all y'all know that I stress it all the time. The reason why I stress it is because some of the phone calls I get are about if you screw up something on an order, when it happens, we do it. We're human. So if you screw up something on an order, and every once in a while you get somebody calling and wanting to know, like, you know, our QR department, how we need to have a better QR department, or you know, just you think as big as a company as you guys are, blah 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 blah. You know, so we hear it. I don't know where that rumor got started or how they why they think we are, how big as they think we are, but I don't know. It's flattering, you know, to make them think that we are that big of a company when we're not. But we got a lot of big changes that are going to be coming from One Objective, I'm hoping, here in the next couple months, with some upsizing, building wise, and all that stuff. I don't know how long it's going to be. It could be next year before it really happens, you know. But getting the project started could be here in the next several months, you know. So, but that's why we got to pull back too, is because just trying to stay caught up, we couldn't do it with tournament fishing because we just don't have nobody else ship for us. Sometimes, I mean, I take it back. We have James's wife Ashley. She comes in, and some of his kids will come in and help ship for us. But it's also, and then we have, you know, like Craig, he comes in and helps us out. And we have Bob Brisky was actually up there a couple weeks ago getting his kayak rigged. He helped us for a day, you know, with stuff. But what did Craig say? These guys kill it, considering I'm able to see it in person, and it's super impressive how they get it all done. Yeah, thanks, Craig. Craig's been a big help. Craig runs our team, and he also comes up and helps us out with, you know, just getting product out, man. It's a lot. It's a lot to get. Everything's got to be aligned correctly. And if you walk in our shop, you're like, gosh, dang, this place is filthy. But it's just so much chaos that it's hard to keep all that clean when we're gone and all that stuff. So that's what I'm getting at. For us traveling all the time, it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to go do it. So, and then when we come back, we're busting our tail trying to get caught up. So we lose focus on trying to build One Objective even more and coming out with more products. That's why, if you really notice, we haven't come out with nothing in a while. It's just because we ain't had time. We're actually playing catch up right now. So we get a lot of questions about our under seat boxes, and, you know, like, when are y'all going to have them out? And we just, actually was waiting on hardware now. We should have some going up next week. We got some dealer orders we got to fill. So we're going to be getting all that caught up. But yeah, so basically, long story short, actually, I just told a whole long story, but long story short, we're going to be pulling out of the big national events, fishing a lot of local stuff. I do want to fish some bass cast tournament stuff on the kayak. So, night, baby. I want to fish some of the local, like the bass cast stuff. Maybe get my son or daughter involved with some of that, and just fish like some other local stuff, and maybe a BFL or two, something like that. So, but excited about that. It's actually, when Hartwell was done, and as soon as we got home, I was like, it's done. Like, me and James come to the conclusion that we were just done. Like, it was time to take a break. We went at it really hard last year, started it hard this year, and we're just like, I just can't do it no more. I'm exhausted. So, but no, we've had a lot of people that has supported us with it, and we're blessed for sure, 100%. And just can't wait to see how the rest of this year goes. We got Alex. He's about ready to hop on. Let me see what email he wants us to use. But yeah, so that's where we're at. You know, things are growing. One Objective is growing. It's gonna be fun. I'm really excited about it, and we got some new products that's on the board, like that we're working on, like, and they should be coming out here soon. So, Chris, I'm going to send you this over.
Okay.
Let's see. Just sent that over to you. So we got some projects we're working on in the mix. And then, like, our YouTube, man, we're setting a schedule for some YouTube videos, some 1v1s. Let me know in the comments. I know we don't have any people in here right now, but let me know in the comments what you guys think about the 1v1. We did one, and we want to grow on to. We got some more camera gear, all that. So we're really investing into that a little bit, and then we're just going to be going out and just doing some regular fishing, how-to videos, and all that. So let me tell him you're going to send him an invite. But anyways, So we're gonna have Alex on here in just a little bit. So y'all quit listening to me talking.
You sent that to him. You sent that to me instead of him.
Oh, well,
You
that's
said
the
Chris
second
is
time
about to send an invite.
that's good time I've done that tonight. Thank God I ain't writing nothing bad about nobody. You know what I mean?
All
But
right, sent, so you should be
all
coming
right,
here in a
yes,
minute.
we should have Alex on here in just a little bit. Chris, when you get time, can you share it on and all you guys that are watching on YouTube right now? Do you mind sending the link over onto your Facebook channel?
Yeah,
That
we'll do it.
we get some people on, you know, and all that. So he said, all you new canoe guys, don't forget about the new stern mount. Yes, that was. I'm glad that one is done. Like, because we had to redo it again because of the people want to use a rudder with it, and so Craig was a big help. He ended up getting his kayak to our shop twice. First time we designed it, we made a few accessories as well for the new canoe caddies and all that, and then he was able to get it back to us so we could redesign it to accommodate the rudder with the new canoe unlimited. So I think it's a really great product. I think it looks great. It gives you the ability to run a motor plus 2 power poles. It gives you the ability to run a motor and 1 power pole, or no motor and 2 power pole, whichever way you want to do it. You can put a power pole to center. But it just gives you the ability to put your power pole wherever you want, your motor basically wherever you want, which hopefully it's in the center. Or you can just run a rudder with a power pole.
There he is. He's here.
All right, we're getting Alex on now. We're gonna go ahead and get him on there. Hey, Alex, what's going on, man?
What's going on, y'all? How you doing?
Oh, not too bad, man. I was like, man, I think Alex forgot about us tonight.
No, I didn't. Dude, funny story. I actually just woke up from a nap.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, I was fishing today. Today was like my 7th day fishing in a row.
Oh my God, what was you fishing today?
Big Bass Tour tournament.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's right. I forgot about it because that ended, and then y'all were able to fish the big bass stuff. So, got them now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I really wanted to fish that Friday, and then I got to looking through stuff on Thursday. I think it was Wednesday. I was looking through stuff. I'm like, man, there's no way. Like, I have nothing ready for this event. So,
yeah,
I definitely want to fish. I think they're coming back in the fall, right?
Yeah, they come back. They do one every spring, and they do one every fall. It's about October, September, something like that.
Yeah, I definitely want to fish that one, and I should have everything ready for that one. So, but man, big congratulations to you, dude, for winning the Open. That's amazing, dude. Like, we were going on there, and I was like, that's Alex that's leading this thing. This is crazy. So, like, tell us a little bit about it. I mean, did you practice with anyone down there, or did you just kind of go in and bring your stuff and show up? How did it go?
Yeah. So I practiced with 2 people. Both missile guys. One of them was Rich Ortiz. And then one of them was Chris Kingery. Practiced with Rich on Monday, and we spent a full day on the water, sun up to sundown. Tried a whole bunch of different stuff, and then Chris and I practiced from about 6:30 in the morning till 1 o'clock. So we had about a half day. So we figured out I was able to look at some other things because they went to 2 completely different parts of the lake. I looked at every part of the lake from Okanichi to all the way down to the dam, which basically covers just about the entire lake. So I got a pretty good view of what I was going to be looking at, depending on who I drew for the tournament. And it was good. It was really cool, really cool. So I felt like I was pretty well prepared. I got to try some different things. I got to go shallow, go deep, try moving baits, try slower presentations. So I was able to look at some different things to get some fish to bite.
And it looked like it was a stingy Bugs Island. Like, it didn't look like a normal Bugs Island event. I mean, I guess when you get back to the 10s and 11 pound range, you know what I mean? Like, for the pro side, like, that looked like a normal Bugs Island Federation. You get into that 10, 11 pound range, everybody can seem to get that. But, normally you see those 17, 18, 19, 20 pound bags, but they eluded everybody this time. I mean, what do you think was going on? Just the post spawn stuff?
I think it was a mix of the post spawn stuff and then the funky weather we had, because we had the warm, nice weather the week before. And then we had colder weather the week before, and it just kind of shut off those fish. Like, it just gave them lockjaw.
Yeah.
I think the shad spawn deal was really kind of shut down because of the colder weather. And they wanted to move up to spawn. That last little wave wanted to move up to spawn. That was, had been waiting to do so, and they couldn't do it because, the water temperature just wasn't right, and that, it just wasn't warmed up enough. They didn't have the food source up on the bank to get them ready for right when they want to go. And, I don't know, it kind of just put the fish in a funk. So that really made it tough on everybody. And the water level was a big key. Everybody says, it's kind of a saying on Bugs Island, when the water's up, go down. When the water's down, when the water's up, go down. When the water's down, go up. There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
My brain's still waking up.
Yeah, I know. It can be tongue twisting too, but yeah, you're right, because
Yep.
the problem with Bugs Island, when it gets up in the bushes, man, they can go so far back.
Mm-hmm.
They can get way up in there. And Bugs Island can fluctuate a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
They can start dropping at any moment, or you can see it start coming up and getting further in the bush, and it's going to keep pushing back. And I've seen it where, and you have too, probably, where it gets up so high that you can start skipping picnic tables. You know what I mean? Like you're like, I'm on a picnic table bite now. Having more picnic tables is kind of fine, but it's crazy like that.
You remember when you remember that tournament when I think Swindle won it, when the water got up down there and somewhere in Texas?
Yeah. Yep.
15 foot, and he was flipping picnic tables and lawn chairs for the carts. Doing that. Crazy.
Yeah. Bugs gets like that. And when it gets like that, that's sometimes you can start locating like which trees that they're relating to more. You know what I mean? Like some of the hardwood trees or some of the buckbrush, or you can start kind of zeroing that in. And that's one thing I like about Bugs Island, is it always has been a great pattern lake. Like you can find a pattern and run with it. Unlike Smith Mountain Lake, you can get a pattern, but the lake is so different from the Roanoke River down to Craddock's Creek. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
So it's tougher to run those patterns as like Bugs Island, where you got long flat points everywhere. You got steep ledges everywhere. It's just so much stuff you can fish, but you can pattern better. But finding those big key fish is tough sometimes, and like what y'all ran into. So, but what was some of the big things that was key players for you? And did it change much from day one to day two?
So I had two baits that were really big key players for me. One was a floating worm. I used a Missile Baits Magic Worm in Missile Morning. And then it's basically, kind of the old school floating worm, just with a little twist. Just, the fish hadn't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I used a half-ounce Bassman spinnerbait in the Dirty Shad color, with the Missile Bait Spunk Shad on the back. I think the spunk shad on the back gave it more of like a little quiver on the tail instead of that paddle tail, or, the double tail they're all kind of used to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
I think those two big differences right there in a, typical presentation a lot of those fish see, I think they got me some better and bigger bites. And difference, for me winning that tournament.
Now, when you were fishing day one and your day one, your day two partner, did y'all fish the same areas, or because you swap it up right on the open, so you have a different partner there and a different partner for your second day? Was you still fishing kind of the same areas on both days?
No, completely different areas. The first partner I had, JT Russell, he ended up fishing closer to Okanichi, closer to the launch, and for most of the day. We started off in Grassy Creek in the morning and then went closer back towards launch. He liked that dirty water, like throwing a spinnerbait. So, I hopped on that train. I threw one right behind him. And then my day two partner, we ended up going down to Mill Creek for the majority of the day. And then we went over to Rudd's to just hit one spot right there at the end.
Yeah.
He really honed in on an area that he liked, and he got on an interesting bite that opened my eyes. I was actually able to learn about that when we started fishing Thursday. He got on a gum tree bite, because the gum trees, the root systems are so big and complex that the bass can just swim in them and spawn and eat. They can kind of ambush from those root balls, from the trees that have fallen down and the trees that are living. they've just got such big complex root systems. They can use them as
Yeah.
ambush their prey. So I got on that and was able to learn. What's cool is my day 2 partner. He actually gave me a fish early in the morning. He saw a root ball and he said, "Now look, there should be a fish over there behind that root ball." I was like, "Okay." I threw over there, and it came up. I think after one twitch, one came up and just grabbed it. It was about a 3-pounder.
Wow.
Oh, let's go. Set the hook, and then got him up in the boat. And that, it was first fish for the both of us that one day. I mean, it was early on, so he was like, "Okay, they should be doing it." He had a Cinco tied on, and I had that magic worm tied on, and he actually threw to some different areas with his Cinco, and that magic worm got bit in those same areas after he threw the Cinco in there. So he was like, "Okay, I know what's going on." So he got keyed in on the floating worm bite too. He put a couple keepers in the boat on it, but man, they just neither of my boaters could really feel a good limit, but luckily they were around good fish.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's nice when you got when you got nice boaters, you know what I mean? Because
100%.
I've gotten some friends. I fish as a boater in the BFLs, and there's a side of you as a tournament angler. You're like, I kind of need every fish I can get. You know what I mean? But there's also a side too. You don't want to be a butthead, and you want them guys because they paid good money to get there as well.
100%. And
And
I think respecting your angler's space and having good co-angler etiquette, not trying to overshoot that line, that kind of threshold. Like, okay, what am I entitled to as a guy in the back of the boat? What can I cast at? I
Yeah.
think really just communicating with your angler and trying to approach it the right way and just not trying to take anything away from what they're there to do as well.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. And I think your karma points really kind of go up and it helps out. So
It goes a long ways for sure. A long ways.
it does.
And
So,
and people don't understand, like, for instance, just in a kayak event, you know what I mean? Like, I've
mhm.
seen it where you're fishing something and another guy will just come right up on you and start fishing. You know what I mean? Like, and that kind of,
Yep.
some of them think it's okay. Like, they haven't fished a lot of events, and they're out there with their buddies and they think it's an okay thing. It's not a big deal. But I don't know if it's where I've came from, bass boat side, and like,
Mhm.
just don't do that.
Right.
There's some people that do, but you kind of work it out as anglers when you're on the water. But but I've also fished with people that have casted and been in the back of the boat in a BFL and cast damn near by my head, on a Carolina rig. And I'm like, hold on a minute, I'm going to get you set up. Just give me a second,
Second, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
that's probably hard to approach as an angler too. You don't want to be that guy to them, and
yeah,
set precedence of it's going to be that kind of day. Then that
yeah,
makes a terrible day on the water, and that's not why we do this.
no. And I do get it. Like,
Oh yeah.
I have fished with a guy that I've gotten back boat pretty good on points. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
I've also found spots or found things that he didn't do because I had to drag Carolina rig or,
Yep.
throw a deep diving crankbait out there when he is fishing up there shallow on the point or something. So,
Yep.
there's different things to do. And we're going to kind of dive into that here in just a little bit. But on day 2, how long? I mean, what time was it when you had your last fish? In the day, your last key fish.
My last keeper came at about 11 o'clock. So I got the first one within the first hour or two of the tournament, and then which launched at 6:30. We ended up leaving by about 7. And then my second one came about 30 minutes after that, and then it took me another hour or two to get that last one. I caught about 10 fish or so on Thursday, day 2, but none of them were really big enough to keep. So I was just getting squeakers. It was like 13-incher after 13-incher after 13-inch. Like, come on, y'all need to grow.
Yeah.
And and I have a crazy story about the end of day 2. I'll get to it here in just a minute. But yeah, I couldn't get any of the bigger bites to get in the boat early. But that third one, once I got it in the boat, I was pretty happy with what I could come up with, because I had about I had a 4-pounder both days, and one day it was about a 4.5. So those two fish went a long ways.
Yeah. A long ways in that event. And I
Yeah.
mean, when you got that last one in the boat, did you feel like that you had it? Did you feel like, I mean, because you know how bugs is. They're out there,
Oh
and
yeah.
somebody could go in and catch 3 4-pounders. You know what I mean? Like or three
Yep.
3-pounders. So, I mean, how was you feeling though after you got that last one? Was you feeling like you had it?
I was not comfortable yet. I'll just put it like that. I kept my head down and I kept telling myself, keep going, keep going. You need one more. I kept telling myself I need one more 3-pounder. I need
Yeah.
one more pounder. Need one more 3-pounder. And I just kept grinding and casting. You know, it's like Iconelli says, never give up. And I
Yeah.
didn't. Just kept casting.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, I'll go ahead and get to what I was going to say earlier. At the end of the day, we went to Rudd's Creek for about 30 minutes. My boater said, man, I've got a spot we can go throw a plopper or a buzzbait around or something like that. And I said, okay. And he said, now it's a 1 or 2 fish deal. You know, we're not going to get many bites, but they're the right ones. I said, well, it's up to you. Do you want to do it? And he only had 2 fish in the boat. So, he was he needed to fill a limit quick. He was really doing that for me more than he was for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went down there and I started throwing a buzzbait around. My boater said these fish were fry garters. But dude, I got a bite from a fish that I don't know if it was a fry garter or not. I mean, it was every bit of 7 pounds. Like it was a giant.
Gosh.
It been the big fish of the tournament just based on what the fish looked like and knowing watching the big fish be weighed in. Um, Man, it blew up on my buzzbait. I made a cast down this grass line and it came up and blew up on my buzzbait. The whole fish came out of the water to eat it and he just missed it. And if I told my boater, I said that would have sealed the deal. Like that would have been done. And he would have been like, or he said, yeah, 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 that would have been it. And
Oh
he said,
man.
I told you it's 1 or 2, but they're the right ones. I said,
Yeah.
dang, that was
Yeah, that's tough. And then that starts playing in your head. You know what I mean?
uh,
Like even as you're carrying your fish to the line, you're like, man, I think I lost it. You know what I mean? Like that fish was the key one right there. That's the one I needed. And
that was the one that would have done.
yeah.
Yeah, I was sweating it. I was kind of sweating what I had in at the fish tanks, weigh tanks. Man, I was just thinking like, man, I've only heard 15 pounds. I think I got that, but man, somebody at any minute could come in and have a 2-day total of like 16 or 17. 17 will really give me a run for my money.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking I knew for sure I had 7 pounds in my bag. But I didn't think it was much more than that. Luckily, it ended up being 8.6.
Yeah. Man almighty. I mean, when you hear that number, I mean, what goes through your head when you know that what place was you the last one away or how did they
Yeah.
do that? Yeah.
So they held me last. They held me to weigh in last because they had a feeling I was going to be in the hot seat or going to win.
Yeah.
So they held me last to just kind of build anticipation. And so I waited at the weigh tank for 2 hours. I got my weigh in was at 4 and I weighed in at 6. So you can imagine what that does to a guy when you're sitting there just waiting to weigh in, watching all these bags come in, kind of paying attention, kind of not, having to talk to everybody, build speculation about how you did. And it's like, man, I can't take it anymore. My heartbeat was about 120 beats per minute the whole time I was waiting.
Nervous wreck, man. There ain't enough
Yep.
there ain't enough beer to calm that down. You know what I mean? Like it's it's just a nervous wreck. Oh man, I just couldn't imagine. So was you able to have any of your family down there for it or was it
No,
just
but
you or
man, everybody was watching. My dad, my mom, my sister, my grandmother, my aunt and uncle, um, my Missile Bates fam. Everybody was watching the weigh in. I mean, everybody in the office was tuned in and supporting me. So it was really really cool. Just for them to tell me they were and everybody. I mean, man, right after I weighed in, my phone blew up. I had like 56 text messages in about 5 minutes.
yeah. Yeah.
So it was really cool to get that kind of love and support. It shows it shows you're surrounded by some really good people. So
Yeah.
it's cool.
And that's the one awesome thing about this sport is like, you know, like football, for instance, it's all this bickering back and forth with teams or quarterbacks or, you know, this guy, this guy, this guy. But like when it all comes down to it, everybody wants to see see you do good. Like,
Yeah.
whether it's, I'm happy, like fishing the kayak events, whoever wins, I'm super happy for them. You know what I mean? Like that's because it's well deserved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've worked
Yeah.
hard. They've put in the time and the results show. You know what I mean? So like it, don't get me wrong, people do get lucky. We get lucky in these events sometimes, especially like a 1-day event. It's hard to get lucky in a 2-day event or
It
a
is.
3-day event.
It is. Yep.
1-day event, yes. 2 and 3, that's that's
Sure.
tough. But so yeah, I'm always super happy for somebody to win, and see it go down and all that stuff. So that's the one thing I do like about this sport. It's no, oh man, I didn't want to see him. I'm sure there are people like that, but
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you don't see it.
Still. Yep. On average, this sport is typically a very supportive and camaraderie based type sport, and that's there's something to be said about that.
Yeah. And that's even like if you go into a slump, like this year, me and James, we were talking about it. We've been in a slump, and I've talked to other friends, and you go out and you have a bad day, and they, hey man, how'd it go? And you tell them, like, don't worry, man, you'll get it the next one. You know what I mean? Like, or
100%. Yep.
like you can be down that slump, and they're there to pick you up. You know what I mean? Like you beat yourself. This sport, you really beat yourself up.
Yes. Well, when you spend 8 hours on the water a day for whether it be practice or a tournament, and they're not always going to bite. It's hard to really stay focused and not spin out during some of those days. And I mean, if you're like me, you're hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, man, you get in a little casting funk, or you lose some fish, or your equipment's just all over the place. Your line's getting tangled up or whatever. That can be frustrating, man. It's hard to keep the pedal down when that stuff's happening.
Yeah.
If you can really stay focused in an event like that and minimize the damage on that front, you're doing a pretty dang good job.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's mental, and you got to try to. I've caught myself before. You make 2 casts back to back, and you lose a bait. And you're like, and then you go to the next one, and you skip a dock, and you backlash, and then sometimes I said, you know what, I think it's time for me to take a little snack.
Yep.
Just pull aside, and I'll eat something and drink something, and kind of because it's so easy, and you can really ruin your day if you don't sit back and kind of reset yourself. You know what I mean? And sometimes even for me, it's just changing locations. I'm just like, you know what? I need to get out of here. Some bad juju going on in this hole right here. I don't know. I'll come back later, but yeah, it is. I mean, a lot of stuff can go wrong. And like I say, if you're mentally in the game, the wheels can really come off quickly. And
100%.
And it's easy to talk about how you should change it and all that. But when you're on the water, sometimes you don't even process it. You don't even recognize the wheels are coming off sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't this past weekend, man. I fished the past 2 days and didn't catch a single fish over 2 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I didn't even realize the wheels were coming off the bus, but I got 4 flats right now. I gotta start from square one.
Yeah. Well, that's, I went up to Smith the other day, before all this. It was actually last week. It was last Thursday. And threw a Cinco, threw the missile, like the 48. I threw that around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I threw a shockwave a lot because I kept finding so many schooled fish, and like they would nip it, they never get it,
Yeah.
And then I started throwing like big swim baits up under docks, and I kept getting follows. And man, it was so many big fish, And
oh yeah.
Finally, towards the end of the day, I caught 2 good ones, and then I lost. Well, I didn't say I lost. He come up and swatted at it, but never got it.
Mm-hmm.
And she would go back to the dock, you know what I mean? And she kept following that swim bait out every single time, but she never hit it.
Yep.
And but like say, you get days like that just you don't even know what to do. You don't know what changes to make. You don't know. But that's kind of been my struggle too with Smith right now. I go up there to Smith, and I'm like, all right, am I going to suck bad today, or am I going to halfway suck? You know what I mean? Like
exactly. I know that place will kick you in the teeth.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because a lot of the times you see like the same guys winning. Like for example, Chad Green, Johnny Martin, those boys have been bad to the bone. the Pilsen brothers, they had a great year last year. They won like almost $25,000 on the lake last year.
Yeah.
And I just sit there and think to myself, like, what are they doing? Like, what are they throwing? Where are they going? Because I've had multiple days on that lake where I've zeroed, not
Yeah.
caught a thing. And that place is can be really, really tough. But, and on the other hand, when that place is not tough and it's your day, you can really go have some fun.
Yeah. You
So,
can really wreck them up there, and that's
mhm,
like me. I'm really excited about night tournaments. I love night tournaments from the shad spawn all the way to you get midsummer where they're out on deep on the points and bluffs and stuff. I really like that fishing deep,
yeah,
and I love it. But I still, like when they were doing, so a lot of them are doing 3 fish limits now, but when they were doing the 5 fish limits, you come in with like, you think you had a really great night, 16, 17 pounds, and then you come in, you're like, don't even get close to a check that night, and you're like,
dude,
God dang, you like,
it's crazy. Dude,
yeah,
this past Saturday, and people fished the big bass tournament Friday during the day and Saturday during the day. There were like 400 boats on the water from sun up to sundown. Those 2 days. The
hmm,
Saturday night tournament out of Gills Creek took 24 pounds to win.
yeah,
I mean,
crazy,
just crazy.
yeah,
I was just mind blown. Like, man, what? I guess they're all just eating at night and they're not eating during the day.
yeah. Well, if you, I don't know if y'all seen it much right now, but so last Thursday, it was still going on, and then the weekend before that, I started noticing it. But the shad were up there spawning like crazy all through the day.
Mm,
Like they were all up there just pushing on the rocks, and I'd see fish up there cruising, and just they weren't interested. Like they were so honed in on the shad
yep.
that it was hard to get them to hit anything. Nighttime you can kind of trick them a little bit easier to me than
Right.
you can during the day when they're up there chasing shad.
Yep.
But they were all over. And then I finally, for the first time, I've never seen them. I've heard about them being in there. It was a blueback heron. I threw a swim bait that was in blueback heron color,
Mm-hmm.
and I pulled around a dock, and here's a whole pack of blueback heron, whole school of them chasing my bait. And I'm like,
Yep.
crap, I've never seen a blueback heron in there ever.
Mm-hmm.
I've had them hawk up shad, crawfish, perch, everything in my life. Will never blueback heron.
Yep.
And it was pretty cool to see them. But like say, since they've been up here chasing during the day on those shad spawns, I have not been able to hardly catch anything until it gets later. And
Yep.
then like I start getting a little bit more bites, But I don't know, man. I think right now they are so like oriented on the shad that the next couple weeks it's gonna probably have to be a good night bite. You know what I mean? Like
I'm with you on that. I'm looking forward to that night bite really turning on. I've gotten a taste of it. I fished Tuesday nighter a couple weeks ago, and I got on a bank where there were a bunch of shad coming up and swirling, and alewives, whatever it was, and
yeah.
threw up on the bank one time and had one come unglued on it, and he ate it so good that he had the second treble hook through his gills hooked into his side.
Oh gosh.
He sucked it in, and
Yeah.
night bite is so aggressive. It's so much fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it getting even better.
Are you gonna fish any of the Friday nighter? Are you gonna fish Friday? I'm gonna fish Friday nighter this week, I think.
Yeah, I'll fish some. I'll probably see you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be up here doing that. I think my son's gonna fish with me this weekend. So he's been wanting to fish a night tournament. So I'm probably gonna fish that one. I might fish the one out of Gills. I don't know, man. That's a long run for me where I normally put in that. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to make that run all the way back in there. I don't have a lot of stuff in Blackwater that I fish. Like a lot of my stuff is Roanoke River, around state park, all that stuff. So, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But let's talk a little bit about co-angler stuff, man. I mean, you just won this one. I mean, do you have plans to fish any more opens, or is it just because this one was on bugs? That's why you tried to get on it, or?
yeah. I'm fishing the whole Division 3
Okay.
series. So I had bugs, and then the St. Lawrence, and then Watts Bar, and those are the 3 lakes they're visiting for that division.
Nice.
So 3. That's all I decided to do. Just because those were the closest to the house, and had never been to the St. Lawrence and always wanted to go. So I figured, man, that's probably my best deal right there. So I signed up for those.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
Yep.
me and James wanted to fish more of them. But I was like, well, we're going to get in. So we signed up as a boater for the Bugs Island one.
Mm-hmm.
And we were 21st on the list when we signed up. And we signed up 2 minutes after it opened. I mean, it was 2 minutes to the D when we got signed up.
Yep.
But you already had a lot that already signed up to fish them all. Was it 157 of them or something like that signed up to fish all of them at first?
Yep.
It kept falling off. And then we got into the tournament. And I'm like, they asked us if we want to do it. And it was so last minute. I already scheduled stuff for my son's birthday. And I'm like, we ain't going to do it. Like,
yeah.
Now I'm regretting because I'm like, man, I do like a tough bite on bugs. You know what I mean? Like I seem to that I don't say I could win, but I seem to do okay when there's a bite. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I might have been like the rest of them and caught 8 to 10 pounds every day. I don't know. But,
yeah. Never know.
yeah. But I was kind of bummed when I seen like how it was. I was like, oh God, I hate not making that event. So, but anyways, that's how it goes. So what is some keys when it comes to fishing as a co-angler? I mean, it's some strategy to it. You know what I mean? Like we get a lot of questions because people want to get into tournament fishing. Some of these guys are in kayak fishing. They want to get into bass boat events and they're asking like, hey, what's the best route to go? And normally we'll say either start at a club. If you don't want to get into the club stuff with the dues and this and that, blah, blah, go to BFLs, fish as a co-angler and learn it. Or you can spend the money and go fish as an open. And you're going to fish with some of the best people. Even in BFLs, you fish with some of the best people in that state. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And I mean, what's some strategies? What is some key things as fishing as a co-angler to keep in mind?
So when I started out fishing as a co-angler, especially if your objective is to learn, that is absolutely the best way to do it. You'll get matched up with all kinds of different guys that'll teach you completely different techniques. You'll get to fish with hopefully some big names like Ish Monroe. Trying to think of somebody else in the opens.
Ben Milligan, Benjamin Milligan.
Yeah, Ben Milligan, YouTube star. And there's countless different things you can learn from all those guys. But in order to be successful as a co-angler, in my opinion, you've got to be kind of sneaky. I think you really have to try and finesse some of your fish to get them to bite over what the person in the front of the boat is throwing. And to be honest, you've got like a ton of different scenarios you're going to be presented with. You may draw a guy that goes shallow fishing gum trees like I did at Bugs. Just flipping wood, flipping bushes. You could be flipping grass somewhere. You could be around a bunch of big grass flats or hydrilla beds or whatever. And then you could also get a guy who's doing the live scope thing now too. He could be on schooling fish where he's chasing fish around on the scope, or he could be on, brush piles that he's making, a few casts to and then gone. So you've got to be able to prepare yourself for those different situations and learn some different techniques that will help you be successful in the tournaments. It's all about getting bit. All you got to do is catch 3 keepers. So if you can catch 3 keepers, that will go a long ways. So just really, I think if you're willing to learn and you want to get into, the tournament side of things and take it more seriously, that's probably the best way to do it. And you can, I mean, a lot of your boaters, they'll talk to you, you can bounce ideas off of them. They'll bounce ideas off of you. Just kind of look for different things that maybe your boater doesn't pick up on. Like for example, if you're fishing a team tournament, your partner and you and whoever you're fishing with, shouldn't be throwing the same thing at the same time throughout the day. One person's throwing something a little bit different, whether weight or colors off, or, the different type of soft plastic you've got you're using on that, like a shaky head or a jig or anything. Or if you're throwing a crankbait, different color, or, different depth range. A little bit different than what your partner's throwing, just to see if there's something better, because they're always biting something better.
Yeah.
You should keep that mindset. They're always biting something better. But man, I got on in the tournament. I got on a that floating worm bite. I got keyed in on that in practice. I caught a couple fish and really I didn't stick, but maybe two of them in practice. But I got a bunch of bites. I probably got 6 bites or so in practice that really helped me realize, like, okay, this is going on. This is the deal. I'm gonna keep this in my pocket. So when I realized where we were and what we were doing on day one, when I was fishing with JT Russell, um, man, I picked that thing up and just started throwing it, and within 10 minutes, I got a bite. And so I knew from that point on that was going to be a key bait for me in the tournament. And just, being able to pick up on little things like that, throwing something different than your partner. The floating worm deal was something that I was able to use. But it could be a drop shot, a shaky head, something that's a little bit more finessey. That's typically what a co-angler, those are typical co-angler baits. A Ned rig, staple co-angler bait. Now I don't throw it a ton, but that's something that I've always got in my back pocket because the fish eat it.
Yeah.
So, and you can throw that thing anywhere. You can't fish it wrong.
Exactly. You can
So,
pop it along, you can drag it, you can do whatever. I mean, they eat it, and I suck at throwing it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't I don't throw it a lot, but I suck at throwing it. But
man,
yeah. So, but like you say, you got to be sneaky. You gotta try to have a different presentation than what they're doing. Now, do you get a lot of time to talk to your angler, like the night before, like when they do the pairing again? Do you get a lot of time to say, hey, what are you fishing kind of area? Because I mean, you could rig
yeah,
up for like a Texas rig or let's say topwater baits, and all of a sudden he's like, man, I'm fishing deep brush piles. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you're like, crap, I got to re-rig everything when you get in a boat. But like, I mean, do you get that kind of that communication? Like, hey, this is what we're going to be doing, or
Yeah, well, that's from some people. I feel I don't know for certain, but I feel like some guys don't want to give away all of what they're doing. So their co-angler doesn't go and talk about to their buddies or who they've met in the tournament. Say, hey, this dude's doing this. I think they try to avoid that situation. But I feel like if you can get enough information out of your angler, and typically they're cool, they'll give you an idea of what you're going to be doing, and you can try and prepare as best as you can for that. But man, both days I got guys that they didn't go into great detail on what we were doing, but told me everything I needed to know.
yeah,
Told me, yeah, we're gonna be shallow, and then we're gonna be around this, we're gonna be around that, and you can probably just kind of pitch around this and get some bites. And I said, okay, cool. That's really all I need to know. I talked to both of my boaters for about 10 minutes the night before, and kind of got an idea of who they were first, and then picked up on what we would be doing. And that is super important. Being a co-angler, you have to know what you're going to be around in order to know what you're going to throw.
yeah,
Uh, you can always get there and tie stuff on, but I mean, you're not going to tie the same leader line for a shaky head as you are for like a little swim bait or something,
mhm,
or you're not going to be throwing, the same line on a jig as you are a crankbait. So if you're bringing 4 or 5 rods, you got to know which rods to bring, and you got to know what you're going to set up, how you're going to set it up.
yeah,
So
and
yeah,
and kind of not mean to cut you off, but probably I look at fishing as a co-angler very similar to like kayak fishing, for instance. Um, and what I mean by is your rod selections. Like you got to have some rods that you can do a couple different techniques on because you
mm-hmm,
don't want to bring in a kayak. Like I got mine set. I can bring 14 rods in it if I want to.
yep,
But and I can make those changes. But there's some kayaks you can't, or there's some events you can't bring that many rods. So you got to be able to have several rods that can do several different techniques. You know what I mean? So,
yep,
and as a co-angler, a boater cannot. I know in a BFL, man, some boaters are very disgruntled when it comes to that, but like they don't want you bringing a lot of tackle that's going to take up the floor room or a lot of rods. You're going to have a lot of rods. So, and if you got too many rods and you're trying to shove them over on your rod ramp, like say, you're going to have a lot of tangles. You're going to have a mess. It's just going to slow you down through the day. So it's key, like you say, kind of know what you're going to fish and have a couple of rods that can do a couple different things.
Yep, 100%. Being prepared is one of the most important things about fishing in general, man. If
Yeah.
you come and your line's been, you've been using the same leader line for weeks, and you got rays and you got nicks in your line, it's a matter of time that big one's gonna come off.
Yeah. Yeah. It ain't a matter of if, it's when. And
Yeah, exactly.
especially like I got some buddies, man. They're like, man, if it not still held up when I was done fishing in the day, it'll be fine the next day. And I'm like, man,
That is not the case.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't trust that too much, but whatever. But yeah, no, that's some really great information. And I mean, how much research do you do going into a co-angler event? I mean, without practice, I mean, baits are very important to know what to pack to go up there. So you're not going to pack the same things that you're going to go fish Bugs Island that you would going to Lake St. Clair. You know what I mean? Some baits maybe, but a lot of it's going to be different. So I mean, do you do a lot of map study as a co-angler? I mean, is it necessary? I mean,
Yes. I really. So at Missile, I've got a screen pulled up on my computer all the time that has Navionics on it, and every now and then I look at it, while I'm eating lunch or something, or um, and I really try to look at, the contours, how deep the lake is, where the dam is, what creeks I'm in. Then that way I know, when my boater tells me, hey, we're going here tomorrow, then I can very quickly pull up, okay, I know where that's at. You know, I that's kind of like a constant thing I do. It's not, I'd study for, this time period before. Like I do that pretty much weekly. Like I look at that stuff. Like I've already pulled up the St. Lawrence. We've got that in July. I've already pulled it up and started looking at it, just because I'm interested. It's not because I'm like, man, I need to do this. It's just something I think is cool. Look at the contour of the lake, what the lay of the land really looks like. But the main research that I do is I talk to people who have fished it. Because there is no, you see it all the time, there is no replacement for time on the water, and those people that have put their time on that body of water know what's going on and know how those fish act. So I try to talk to people who have fished it and like, man, like what's the deal down there? Well, it could be this, could be that. You're gonna have this, you're gonna have that. The bait's gonna be doing this. The bass should be pulling up and doing this, and that kind of information is what I value the most. Because you can hop on YouTube and watch Bugs Island fishing tournaments, or you can read Bugs Island fishing reports online, but they're only going to give you so much information, and you can't ask questions and get a response. I can talk to people and ask questions to get immediate response.
yeah,
And I like, that kind of interaction, where you can, figure out, okay, well, what do they like to throw? Okay, that works. I would probably do that. That would work. You can just really kind of dial in your style of fishing, and then also bring in the info that you need to hopefully catch some wherever you go.
yeah, yeah. No, that's some great information. So I mean, like I say, you still got to put your time into practice, whether it's you're not on the water. Like a lot of people don't understand, like there's so many different things to practice. Like say just calling and making a phone call and talking to some people, your map studies, your Google studies, it's so much behind the computer desk now that you're able to do.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going there shouldn't be no excuse why you don't have somewhat of an idea what you should have tied on when you first get on that water.
Yeah, 100%.
And that goes a long ways. And then like I think like St. Lawrence, for instance, I mean, you're going to go up there and there's going to be different techniques these guys are doing that we just don't do around here. Or we drop shot fish and all that. So that lake's a big drop shot lake, but there's different colors you're going to throw. There's different, there's so much stuff you can learn just fishing different events. That's what I always try to tell people. Like Craig, for instance, he's talking about wanting to fish a BFL. Man, you'll fish with so many different people that throw so many different techniques. You'll get down on bugs and this guy might be throwing a color. You're like, what in the world? But he's killing them, So it's good. I think co-angler is a great way to come in and start fishing. And I mean, it's a lot of guys. There's a couple of guys local that that go and fish BFLs as co-anglers that are pretty good on Smith Mountain, but they'll do that just to learn a few other things. You know what I mean?
100%, 100%. And it is. I've had fun doing it. I think it's a really, really cool way to just, up your game a little bit and kind of learn some new techniques and, really, really pay attention to what the fish are doing, because when you talk to somebody that's fishing in the front of the boat, they're going to tell you what's going on in their head. And then, that's going to help you hopefully learn something new.
Yeah.
And it's really cool getting your eyes opened up to things you didn't know about bass before.
Yep.
The way they behave, the way they act. I mean, man, it's when you get a light bulb go off, it'll help you in the future if you fish tournaments. It's cool.
I can sit back and look at and fishing a federation for several years. We fished it, and I fished with guys like Jack Mann. I fished with Ivan Morris. Ivan Morris was probably the biggest one. That's Rick Morris. I don't know if you know much about the Federation guys or Ivan Morris, who he is, but that's Rick Morris's brother. And dude's a stick with a Carolina rig, man. Like, I mean, we went down to Bugs, and we was fishing a 6-man event, and I had 5 different rods. I had a deep diving crankbait, had a top water, spinner bait, jig, and I can't remember something else, something finessey.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "What are you doing with all that?" I'm like, "We're going fishing." He goes, "You need to tie a Carolina rig on all of them." I'm like, "Man, I ain't tying a Carolina rig. I don't even know about a Carolina rig." So he went through my rods, and he's like, "Here, we're going to use this Carolina rig." And he tied me up a Carolina rig and he goes, "This is what we're throwing." I'm like, "Okay." And I had a watermelon seed red flake lizard, and we caught fish all day long. I learned so much, man, on he always told me, I was like, "Man, I don't even know how to work this thing." He said, "Man, just throw it out there and start counting rocks." I'm like, "What?" He goes, if you lose track, cast it back out there and start all over again. I'm like, "Oh, okay."
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, but you learn so much. You just learn so many different techniques, and being able to like say we've had the opportunity to marshal in the classic with several pros, and on the elite tour or the elite events, and I had the opportunity to fish with ride with Ott Defoe and Mark Daniels and all them, and like the Nico rig, I learned a lot from Mark Daniels on that.
Oh yeah, I guarantee it.
Yeah, and I mean, man, like Ott Defoe, granted, we was running around looking for bedding fish, and you learn a few things, but just watching them, how they work and how they stay so they're like a well-oiled machine, man, how they go about and how they process stuff, so like you learn so much. But whether marshaling or fishing a BFL or a club event as a co-angler, I highly recommend it for anybody that's wanting to get into these events and do that. So, but Alex, I do appreciate it, man. I appreciate you taking the time to come on here. I don't want to cut you too short, but it's getting late and I don't want to too far here, but big congratulations, dude, on your win. That's phenomenal. I like seeing you bring it home back to missile baits and to do it on some missile bait products. You know what I mean? That's even better.
Yeah, 100%. I'll send you a picture. I took a picture of the trophy with some baits on it, and you may have seen it on the missile post, but
might have, yeah.
Put my key baits on there with hanging over top of the trophy.
Yeah, I'll probably use that as a thumbnail for this. So I think that'll be cool. So, but man, I do appreciate you taking the time and coming on and talking with us. I know I forgot that you were probably fishing the Big Bass Tour and all that. So
not a problem, man.
But man, I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you later, and hopefully you hear from us here soon. Do an order with you guys here soon.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Y'all take care. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex. You have a good day, man.
All right, you too.
See ya. All right. Man, I'm glad that worked out. I was getting kind of nervous there for a little bit, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm laying it all out on the line on what's going on with one objective, and then he came in and saved the day here. So
there you go.
But no, it was fun talking with Alex, and I'm like I say, I've worked with Alex where we're on missile baits, and he's our team guy and takes care of a lot of that. So just it's always fun to talk with him, and had the opportunity to talk with him again at the Classic. Actually, I met him at the Classic, and I think it was the first time I've ever met. I might have met him before that. I can't remember, but actually got up and got to have a good conversation with him. It was nice to meet him. So super happy for him. Super happy for Missile Baits team to get one to get a win. So at the home body of water there. But other than that, man, I mean, I don't have a whole lot more to add. Like I said, we're going to be doing some YouTube videos here. You're going to see a lot more of them coming. There's going to be some more. We're going to be a little more current with everything. and I'm hoping to be a little more current with our podcast. I know I've been saying that, but like I say, with the tournaments and all that, and the way business has been, I mean, there's times where I'm only home for like a day or two. You know, I don't have time to even schedule a show. So I'm gonna work on scheduling things a little bit more and getting some more guests on. If you got some guests in mind that you would love for us to have a conversation with, you know, I mean, we'll do our best to reach out to them. I can't make promises that we'll get them all. Some guys, they just don't like to talk. You know, they just I ain't got time, or they don't want to do it on a Sunday, you know, because of family events and stuff like that. And I fully understand that. So, but if you got anybody, let us know. You can write it in the comments below, or you can email us, or you can write us on Facebook. I will tell you this, Facebook Messenger it's a struggle for us. Sometimes we don't get all the messages. Until like a couple days later, and all of a sudden my phone starts going off with all these messages. So, but anyways, you can reach out there. Also, guys, go out and check out oneobjectivebf.com for all your kayak rigging needs. We're getting into some bass boat stuff and also tackle. So make sure you go in there and check all that out. And then, like I say, if you're watching this on YouTube, which I'm sure you are because we couldn't do it on Facebook tonight, hit the thumbs up button and hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to us when you can do that. And if you can, ease on over and hit that notification button too, because you'll get a notification every time we put a new video up. So, but other than that, man, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure you check out all of our great sponsors that help us out, and also go to waterlingcode.com and save yourself 15% by using promo code OneObjective. And then other than that, we will talk to you guys later. See you.